Game 72 of the Toronto Maple Leafs regular season. Dropping this one in a shootout, making us stay up for every possible minute that you could possibly get past what we needed to at that point. Like, there was just no need to drag us up. Once you got it to overtime, you got the extra point. We could have called it quits within the first 10 seconds, but no, we dragged this thing out into a shootout. We have to get all the way to then, but we'll break it all down. We'll talk about what went right, what went wrong, the positives I have for tonight, the negatives I have for tonight. It's all a presentation of Bet365, and as well, just a quick reminder, because I did see that two of them came in here before we got started on the show tonight. We do have a Super Chat charity partner this season on the show. You want your question or your comment answered, make sure to get your Super Chats in. I will answer any and all questions, comments, concerns that come in throughout the course of the show here tonight. We'll break those all down, and proceeds from our Super Chat go to Sick Kids. So it does go to an amazing cause every time you guys send those in. Send some money in here to the stream. But with that said, let's break down tonight's game. Let's see what you guys are talking about in the chat, and let's welcome in a guy I don't want waiting throughout the course of this, especially considering that he waited up until the start of this show here tonight. Let's bring producer Vick into the folds. Vick, how's it going after that one?
I'm hanging in. That was a fun overtime, at least.
Yeah.
Kept me awake. I was tipping over, but that overtime kept me going. That was fun.
The overtime was like, that overtime was crack. There was a couple of slow moments, but that overtime was go, go, go. I think a lot of it has to do with like the energy that Will Smith, which just sounds crazy every time I say it, but Will Smith and Celebrini have, like those young guys that they have there on San Jose are disgusting. William Nylander was out of his mind here for the most part tonight. He looked really good in overtime again. It was a fun, fast-paced overtime. I don't know. Where do you want to start on this one? Like, we do have a super chat, and I kind of want to get your thoughts on this because it is like a big picture thing. And I saw Rosie tweeting that he was going to go ballistic on the team if they didn't get to OT. But I mean, I guess we can start with the super chat, and then we can kind of navigate our way through it here. So, first one of the night. Jeff McKay with the super chat here, Vic. Jeff says, I really hate to beat the dead horse again, but this team is baby shit soft, and they get any pressure applied to them. Oh well, one more month to go.
I feel like this is deja vu.
Yeah.
Do you remember the last time they lost in a shootout to the San Jose Sharks?
Yeah, like 2 weeks ago, and it was you
I
and
was
me.
in here with you.
Yeah.
And it's just, I mean, we've done this. We've beat this thing down. We've broken this thing down. It's hard to disagree with that. I mean, to come out the way they did, and you know how strongly I feel about Joseph Wall. Like, I don't know what that is. I believe it was their fourth goal, 3-2 game. Leafs get one back, climb back into it, and he kind of sealed their fate. It was a bit of I feel like Wall doing that was a big picture thing as well. Like he's like, hey, I can suck too, guys.
Yeah. I mean, they talked about it on the broadcast too after that goal is scored, where he effectively fires it off of I don't even know who it was on San Jose that was coming in. At this point I can't
forget
even remember.
it. Yeah,
my brain is just fried. But when he fires it off his skate and it ends up going Eklund, when he shoots it off his skate and it ends up going in. You know, Chris Simpson, I think there was like, yeah, you know, you're probably at this point going to want to try to get that back for your goaltender. And I thought that they came out with a little bit of life in response, but I think that that's kind of like a big summary of tonight's game. And like, reading the chat is kind of hilarious right now because people are all over the place.
I don't have it.
I mean, there's people like waiting for Zack to blow up, waiting for these guys to go nuts tonight. 6 1/3 saying Zack only goes nuts after 5-game win streaks. I'm not happy about tonight's game. Like, let's get that out of the way here. I'm not happy about tonight's game. I'm glad they came back. I'm glad they got a point. Blah, blah, blah. They should have just won this game. You should have just won the last game against San Jose. The thing is, for me here, Vic, the problem is right now, like, the problems again in this game are the problems that I lost my mind in the game against Ottawa with you. It's the problems that I lost my mind in the game against Florida just before that, the game against Nashville before that, where it's like, this is not a new issue that's arisen. This is not learning something else about this team or discovering some other problem that we now have to fix. It's the same fucking thing over and over. Like, this is reminiscent, other than the fact that they tied it, by the way, and went to OT. This is reminiscent of like Leafs of old, right? Okay, yeah, you had some spurts, you had some good chances there, but then it was like, okay, and you flutter, like you kind of just disappear again.
Yeah, and even the tying it is kind of Leafs of old too, because they haven't done that.
That's actually
this
true,
year, right? Like,
yeah.
Even the scoring of 5 goals, they don't do that very often. But yeah, it goes to show you just how much they rely on the goalies. Like,
Yeah.
I tweeted a stat there on our live post here that they fell to 40, 3 and 2, 40 wins, 3 losses, 2 OT losses when scoring 3 times. That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
You score 3 and you win. And it just goes to show you how good Stoli and Wall are. And when one of them doesn't have it, which is like rare, 5 times, they just can't do it. But I don't know. It's a lot of breakdowns, a lot of odd man rushes, a lot of turnovers at the blue line. The first line especially was doing it a lot. A lot. I think we'll get to that in a second here, the play of the first line. But yeah, it was just a lot of like funky, crappy. I mean, I watched a lot of college hockey today, a lot of college style hockey today.
Yeah. College hockey.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I mean, let's start with the first line, because I think that, like, I wrote down here tonight, Vic, after this game, like, how are we gonna react to this one? Like, how are we gonna break this down? Because it's like what you said, where we've talked about this how many times, and how many times in the last like 3 weeks. Like, what am I going to say that's new? So I kind of wrote down some points. Well, the one that stood out to me the most was, on one side of things, I was looking and going, wow, the second line is really good tonight. You know, most of the goals that they scored ended up coming off of the power play or coming in the late game situation with the JT tip to bring them within 1, or the Nylander goal to tie it, or some of the other areas there where they had some moments like that, the power play goals that were scored where they get on the board there, and it didn't come at 5-on-5, but they looked really good at 5-on-5. I think part of the reason that they also looked so dominant and they also stood out to me the way that they did is because of how much better they were than the first line. And Vic, this is not just the first line tonight. This is not the first line the last 2 games. This has been like the first line for the last couple of weeks here now, where they have looked disconnected. They've been losing their minutes. It feels like they spend a lot of time in their own zone. When they get to the offensive zone, they don't look that dangerous. Oftentimes it's like a quick chance, shot on goal. Maybe it gets cleared. Maybe the goalie covers it. Like, there's not really much that's being created from those guys. And yet we can't break them up. They have to stay together, and I get part of it is that you've got to keep Nylander and Tavares together right now, because holy fuck, those guys are unbelievable side by side. But can there not be some other way to configure this? Because that first line has looked terrible lately, in my opinion here at least.
Yeah, and I think the numbers back that up. We're not really chart guys, you and I, but
No.
the charts were matching our eyes at least today. And it's like you got a guy in a contract year, number 16, that's making $11 million, and we expect him to be most likely, I think, if he hits UFA, the highest paid player in the NHL. Mm-hmm. We have a guy that scored 69 goals last year, centering that line, and we're looking for people to spark these guys or what? They got outplayed by an 18 and a 20-year-old today.
Yeah.
And not just outplayed, like thoroughly dominated by Macklin, Celebrini, and Will Smith. It was like men against boys, but the men were the boys. I don't know if that makes sense.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And it kind of felt like way back when Matthews and Mitch and Willie had that fire, had that extra, had a little bit of boost when they were rookies and they were playing just for the fun of it instead of for whatever they're playing for now. I don't know what they're playing for now because it's hard to tell sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it feels like Celebrini and Will Smith were having fun out there, and they're on a garbage ass team like last place, and they're having fun, and our guys are just like squeezing it. I don't know what it is. They're two of the highest paid players in the league. They should be dominating, not getting dominated.
So to that point, what you're talking about there, I believe it was through the second period, this stat was tweeted out, and it was the one that you and I were looking at, and I'll pull it up. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but everyone in the chat will be able to see it here. This is what we're talking about. This tweet comes from Anthony Petrelli, at @Petrelli on Twitter there. He says, this top line continues to get rolled out with impunity as Craig Berube refuses to break them up at all costs. Can't spread out 3 lines so that these guys can get outplayed by an 18-year-old for the second time this month. The stat that you can see on screen is chances for in their time on ice as a unit, 5. Chances against, 11. Now, if you look elsewhere on this one, Robertson, Domi, and Lawton have 10 chances for, 9 chances against. The Nylander line has 13 chances for, 15 chances against. But, like, when the grand scheme of things, if you're losing your chances by 1 or 2 and it's partway through the game, like, I don't know what the updated stat ends up being. But this is one of those things where you can just see it. Like, we're watching it eye test, and then you get numbers like that end up popping out, and it's like, yeah, you're getting your teeth kicked in here in the minutes that you're playing. And to your point, Vic, like, it's no disrespect to Celebrini and Will Smith and stuff, but you're Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner. That shouldn't be happening to a first-year Macklin Celebrini and to a first-year Will Smith. Like, that stuff, when you are in a race like this and you are fighting for every single point because of how important it's being determined that not, like, you were this close. You were this close from not just going to second place and having to play a tougher matchup, but from possibly being third and being on the road. Like, it is this tight right now. Every fucking point matters, and your best players cannot figure out how to play together right now.
All right. I have a few things to come off of that. When did you say this was posted? At what point during the game?
It was at 12:30 a.m., so I believe it was some point in the second period.
Okay, so does it even matter how it ended? Like, does it even matter? If you're at this point, at any point in the game, does it even matter? That's the first thing. Yeah. Number 2, like, they just beat you in a shootout because you didn't come out and play.
Yeah.
It just happened. I did this show with you. I was there. It happened. People wanted us to yell and scream that day. We didn't do it. We were like, it's the first one. Everybody relax.
Yeah.
Turns out they were right. We were wrong. We should have been screaming.
We were late to the party.
But it just fucking happened. For you not to wake up and for you to sit there and underestimate them again, you saw how they play. They played you tough. They played you hard. They play fast. They don't play very well defensively. And you get into a track meet with them. And again, you come out on the losing end. Like, what is going on here? Put in your best foot forward because every single goddamn point matters. You want to win the division, or do you want to go into Tampa, who just won 8-0 again? Like, they are fucking rolling. Brad Marchand's coming back tomorrow for the Florida Panthers. They got him on a line with Sam Bennett. You want to go up against that? Like, I don't know. I don't know what to say. Like, you just did this. You've just fucking did it, and you did it again.
So there are some stats being thrown in the chat right now, Vic. Leafs Jelly HD, you know who that is? He does YouTube. Yeah,
one of my favorite follows on Twitter. Definitely.
Same. He's active in the chat here right now. The only playoff team the Sharks have beat in the last 29 games.
Oh my god. Twice.
So there's one. The other thing that was thrown in here, it's a quote, and it comes from Leafs Jelly. This is where it's unfortunate because like I do the show right away after I miss some of the
Yeah.
quotes. I try to get to them in real time, but he says, "Oh shit, I lost it." It was a Craig Berube quote. My screen jumped
Oh,
and it
I
moved
think
on
I
the
see
screen.
it. Wait, I now.
If you
Oh
can
yeah, there.
find it, do you
Craig
want to read it?
Berube.
Yeah,
We all got to be better. Goalie included. It's not good enough.
yeah. Thank you. That was the one.
Is that the
I'm
one?
glad to see him say that
Yeah.
because it's like a breath of fresh air. You think about when we had Sheldon Keefe here, the comments that you would hear, the quotes that would come out, like this kind of stuff wouldn't happen. And if it did, he's walking it back the next day. He's going into practice tomorrow morning, or he's going to the next press conference, whatever it is, and he's like, we just got to be better, heat of the moment, blah blah blah. Like he's excusing the effort. So it's nice on one hand that Craig Berube says this. On the other hand, Vic, we talk about how infuriating it is learning lessons. Oh, hopefully they've learned their lessons. It's not like that has been said so far this season, but it's a game like this that makes me feel like, have you learned your lessons? Because a couple of weeks ago, you just had almost the same game to San Jose. Now, in that one, you were winning, so okay, maybe we flipped it around the other way here tonight. You found a way to come back and you lost in a shootout.
The thing is, they didn't play 60 that night. They didn't play 60 tonight, right?
Right. So this is against San Jose. And you've now done this twice. And there's been patterns here over the last couple of weeks of you just not playing full 60-minute games, not showing up on time, calling it quits early. Talk about the Saturday game in Nashville there, where you showed up early and you were ready to go from the puck drop, and then once you got up 2-0, the Lawton goal gets called back, and you said, thank you, we'll see you guys back in Toronto. Well, now you go into this game here tonight against San Jose. You had just been called out by Craig Berube about the effort on Saturday night against Nashville. You got called out by Craig Berube during your practice. You got called out and blown dead and read the riot act effectively during the practice. And then you roll that over into, okay, he calls you out in the media again. And he's trying to tell everybody, you know what? Like, you need to be better. This team needs to be better. We need better efforts. We need more consistent efforts. You need to practice harder. Okay, fine. You show up against the Flyers. It's the Philadelphia Flyers. Like, you showed up. You got the win. You got their fucking coach fired. And then you do this against San Jose. It's like, did you grasp what was said? Because we talk so much for now into year 9 about learning lessons, and then you pull some shit like this where it's just the same thing you do year in and year out. And then I watch this group 10 games away from the playoffs and be like, I don't believe you've learned lessons. I just don't believe you.
Like, is it already running like in one ear out the other? Like it's
exactly
game 71 of Craig Berube. Are you already tuning him out? Like, how many times does he have to do this? The only thing is that I would like to see him make these guys more accountable by reducing ice time.
Yep.
He flipped the D pairs a little bit, but it seemed like they went back to normal. I think, Zack, but I think he benched Benoit for a little bit. And I think that's why we saw it. Yeah. So, like, it's easy to do that to Simon Benoit. It's easy to do that to your 6'7" D man. You got to see that stuff higher up in the lineup where people start to feel it. Like, it ended up working out again, but I was a little upset at the timeout and not getting the second unit out there at the 6-on-5. At that point, I thought we had lost. So kudos to him. Good for calling the timeout and whatever, but they had done nothing to that point. And I just want to see a little bit of message sending in the game rather than to the media afterwards. Send the message during, produce some ice time, flip the lines a little bit.
Yep.
And I didn't see any of that, but they got the tie anyways. But again, yeah, I don't know if you agree with me, like the Simon Benoit benching, like great, but what does that really tell anybody?
Right. And it's like I listened to you guys on the morning show talking about Morgan Riley, and like does it send a message? Does it get through to him? Does it change anything if you healthy scratch or you bench Morgan Riley? And okay, maybe it doesn't if you put him in the press box, but Morgan Riley has been really bad this season. Like not struggling, not very good, really bad. And there are times, and okay, I don't think tonight's one of those nights that sticks out to me as like, holy shit, he was atrocious tonight. It's not like he was very good, but yeah. I mean, tonight's not like a dunk on Morgan Riley night. But it's like a game like this, I watch it, and then I start to wonder, I'm like, okay, why can't you look around and find Mitch Marner plays where he does some stupid shit going into the corner and is trying to make no-look backhand passes to the middle of the ice with no one paying attention and no one moving, like, and he's just can't. He's making dumb plays, bad plays, soft plays.
Matthews had an egregious one too. Matthews had an egregious one too across the blue line. That one was like, what are you doing, guys? What is going on? What am I watching here? This isn't. You're an MVP. You're a Hart Trophy winner. What are we doing here against the worst team in hockey? Like, what are we doing here, boys?
Yeah, these things are so frustrating, Vic. So frustrating when that shit starts to happen. I don't know if my camera is all like freeze framing on you, so if it is, let me know. But I think it's okay. It just look like it was on my screen, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
I can't tell. Everything's fuzzy on the screen share here, so okay. I have no idea.
Fair enough. All right, let's get to some of these super chats. I don't want to do like way too long of a show here tonight. It is 1:50 a.m. Eastern time, but we do have a bunch of super chats that have piled up, and I want to make sure we get to every single one of these. So if you want to bang some of them out with me here, Vic, I'd be happy to do that. Maxentius Decimus. This is just a troll. We'll say it and we'll go to the next one. Maxentius Decimus. Marner's stock just keeps going up in must-win games.
He was, again, incredible in that overtime. Like, holy shit. Some of those moves the guys were pulling. Yeah,
he was really good in the skills competition.
I get it, but holy man. Fuck. He's got some damn skill. Sometimes it's just like the hockey fan in you comes out instead of the Leaf fan, and you just sit there in awe sometimes. And that OT was just incredible. Yeah, go ahead.
I think that's fair. I mean, I know Max is just fucking around when he sends that. Yeah, also, we've got like 350 people watching here right now on the post-game show. If you haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe here to the channel, Leafs Nation 401, whether it's right here for the After Dark show. If it's Leafs Morning Take, Monday to Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern time, you don't want to miss any of it. You also don't want to miss the pregame best bets, which went 2 for 2 here tonight. We'll recap that in a little bit. But the next super chat I wanted to get to as well, Dan Freeman. If I could put one song into this game, it's Monkey Man by the Rolling Stones. Like a cold Italian pizza, all my friends are junkies. This game stunk. I don't know what to say about that.
Sure.
Dan, I appreciate the super chat.
Dan is one of my favorites. So
yeah,
thank you.
I just don't know what to add to that. Yeah. Like the game stunk. Yeah, I would agree with that. We got another super chat here, and I want to know your take on this one because this one is spicy. Mike Bambi, are you ready for this, Vic? I don't know if you pre-read it.
I did not. I haven't seen it.
Nylander is the real captain of this team. 34 needs to be stripped of the C.
Okay, you and I texted about Willie specifically before we hopped on here after he tied the game. And I told you my wife is sleeping in the next room, but William Nylander is my favorite human being on the planet.
Yeah.
So any praise Willie gets, Willie deserves. I absolutely love him. He is the best. And sure, give him the C. I can't believe he doesn't have a letter, actually, to be
I don't think he's
honest.
Ever worn one once.
He's never had maybe if like there was injuries or something, he probably wore one. But
yeah,
again,
I don't even know.
again, like Mitch had to have a letter a few years ago, so they like split them on the road
with
and
him
home
and
ice. It's like because so they don't cry. I don't fucking know, but yeah, Willie always, and now he's even becoming more of a leader. The way he talks to the media, I
yeah,
don't care about my goals. I don't care about what this is. Playoffs. It's all about playoffs. I don't give a shit about any of this stuff. It's all about the playoffs.
yeah.
And yeah, give him the C. Fuck, I don't give a shit.
Look, I mean, give him the C. I think his strip Matthews of it, I don't
Yeah,
think that's ever going to happen, especially considering what we just threw out there
of
about
course
the
not,
fact
but yeah,
that he doesn't even have a letter
a letter. Yeah.
on his jersey. But
It'll never happen, obviously, but yeah, cool. I'd love that. That's just I'm more chaos. Just keep adding on to it. Why not?
But like honestly though, the way he conducts himself, the way he
Yeah.
handles himself in these pressure moments, in tight situations, in the media, in the playoffs, talking about playoffs, all of that stuff. We've seen a mental and physical maturity out of William Nylander unlike any of the other core guys that are here. I mean, John Tavares obviously came in with it. He came in with that mindset, that preparation, that mentality. Like that's just who John Tavares is. But he doesn't kind of present the killer instinct the way that William Nylander does. I'm not trying to say that John Tavares doesn't have it. I just more so mean outwardly kind of show
Yeah.
you that he's capable of that or he has that, thinks that way, whatever. Nylander has more and more like frequently shown that and exuded it. He doesn't just
Yeah.
say it, he shows it. He does it. Late in the game, who's the guy with the puck on his stick? Who's the guy carrying the puck across the blue line or going coast to coast and driving to the net? Who's the one who's going and beating somebody out wide and taking it to the front of the net now? A lot of times it's William Nylander doing that. He's the one leading the charge. And then they cut to his face and he looks unbothered. Like these things just look like it just means nothing to him. And then he goes in the post-game media. He's got no tarp on. He's got a chain, a hat backwards, and he's like, I just care about the playoffs. I'm doing what I'm paid to do. It's like, this guy is a fucking baller. He's
Yeah.
unreal.
He just oozes swagger, and it's something this team hasn't had in a really, really long time. I feel like I don't know. Do you think Keefe had him handcuffed a little bit? Because it looks like Berube kind of lets him like be him a little bit more. I
I
didn't see this last year as much. Like he obviously on the ice, you see it. He's got the swag on the ice always. He's
Yeah.
got the jersey tucked in the back. He's flying through. He had the flow going.
Yeah.
He's
The
got
tinted
all
vise.
sorts of swag on the ice.
Yeah.
But off the ice, I don't think I've ever heard him speak this way. I don't know if it's a Berube thing. Maybe he's matured a little bit more. Maybe he's a little more comfortable with speaking out. I don't know what it is. I mean, sometimes you grow into your leadership role, right? But I've never seen this from him. And it
No.
feels like him and Berube have like this relationship where Berube calls him out. And then I think it was in the beginning of the season where he's like, I want more ice. And he said that out loud. And then Berube confirmed it. He's like, he asked me for more ice. So they put him on the PK, I believe, is what the solution was there. So it's like, and then he was playing both power play units. Yeah. So it's like they have this open relationship where I feel like he's actually fully comfortable for the first time in a really long time. I don't know. I haven't seen the side of him. It's crazy.
So I have a I don't know if theory is the right word. Speculation.
Yeah.
My feeling is just based on everything we've seen happen in the past versus what's happening right now. I get this feeling, and I don't know, like people in the chat tell me if I'm wrong. Again, I'm just guessing on this, but that Sheldon Keefe would get on Nylander, give him shit, get mad at him, sit him down, call him out, whatever. Very similar kind of to what we have seen about Berube. Like Berube will call him out and he'll give it to him and he'll take time away from him or set him down for shifts. Like he's not afraid to do so, but it feels like there's not a fear of Craig Berube. And I mean that in the best possible way.
Yeah.
Where like Willie would kind of maybe not have the confidence to say that stuff in the media or to act a certain way or to make some of those plays because in his mind, maybe him and Sheldon Keefe just didn't get along. So maybe it hindered some of that where he's doing the same shit now, but Berube is going to pee-pee whack him, but not like I fucking hate you, but like, hey, dude, I know what you're capable of. Like, smack you across the back of the head. Like, let's fucking get going here because I know you've got it. Where, like, he trusts Willie. Willie can have that faith back in him, and it allows for that where it's also the other thing, too. Like, Vic, how often over the last couple of years have we said Willie's the whipping boy for the coach? Like, Willie's the one that Sheldon Keefe gives it to, not Mitch, not Austin, whatever. Berube still gives it to him. It just responds differently. I feel like there's just a different relationship now where he's not worried. I'm going to have to sit for the entire second period because I fucked something up. Berube might just be like, you fucking idiot. Don't do that shit again. And then it's like, you're all good. Go back and play.
Yeah. And I feel like the communication, because like when they hired Chief, Rosie played under him. And the thing that, I mean, how many coaches have we had on? How many players have we had on that Chiefs coached with and whatever? Every single one of them says the same thing. You know exactly where you stand with Chief. He does not beat around the bush. You know exactly what he wants. He'll tell you to your face every single day. And I feel like when, I don't know, again, we don't know the ins and outs of what's going on in the relationship he had with Sheldon Keefe, but it felt like, hey, a mistake and he's on the bench, but he doesn't know how long he's on the bench, so he kind of just sits there. Whereas, yeah, like you're right, with Berube, you kind of give him a whack, and then Willie can say something back to him, and there's that two-way communication rather than just this silent treatment or whatever. Yeah. And both guys are on the same page, and it feels like Willie is absolutely buzzing, and he's flying, he's confident, and he seems more confident than he's ever been, which could be really, really good news for this team.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Vic, I don't want to keep you far too long here. It is 2 a.m. I'll get another super chat out of you here. So
just keep going, man. Who cares?
All right, fine. Okay, you just tell me then when you want to leave.
Yeah, just keep going.
Okay. Another super chat. I'm going to read this one, and we hit 50 likes on the stream, so I'm going to do the smelling salts as well. But I'll read this one. So sang them. I think this is why you and I are both pissed off and calm. Okay?
Yeah.
We didn't see anything tonight we didn't know before, is what So Sangnam says.
Fuck, that's fair. That's fair. Fair.
Like,
okay, we can wrap, I think.
Like, that's the problem, though, right? Like, that's why, like, this game pisses me off.
Yeah.
But Vic and I did the same show 2 weeks ago when they lost to San Jose. Like, we might as well have just played that show again here tonight. I could have just came on and said a different score at the beginning, played the show from start to finish, said the score at the end of the show, and shut it down. And like, I'm partially joking, but it's like, you know, it's the same shit. And it's like, that's why it's frustrating. That's why it's frustrating watching these guys. That's why I lack belief in them when it comes to the playoffs. Like, there's almost a part of me that waves the white flag and is like, well, you know, we've got, 10 games left in the regular season to get to 82, and then you're going to go through the first round. You're going to get to 7 because it's the Toronto Maple Leafs. They're going to get to 7, and that's probably it. You know, like a game like this makes me get to that point again in my head where it's just like, why would I believe in these guys?
Yeah, and it's like, how many times are we gonna do this? I feel like we what was the term Rosie used that I was making fun of?
Microfying.
Microfying glass. We put this team under a microfying glass. I'm sure the Florida Panthers have had bad stretches like this. I'm sure the Tampa Bay Lightning have had bad stretches like this. But we don't give a shit about them. This is Toronto, and we've had these stretches for 9 years. So that's the difference, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like Florida sucked, and then they've been good for 3 years. So if they have a stretch here or there, whatever, their fan base isn't used to it. Like, we've seen this for 10 years going on now?
Yeah, 9 years. This is 9 years of the core.
It's harder for us to take. Like, everyone always talks about, every team has these rough stretches, every team has this rough patches, but no team has ran it back 10 times in a row and still had the same rough patches and still had the same mistakes.
Yeah. The other thing too is, like, it's the killer instinct that you see. Like, tonight is a difficult one because it happened a little bit differently or played out a little bit differently, but it's the same conversation where it's like, Like, I'm not condoning doing dirty things and like hurting people, but like Florida, Boston, Tampa, Dallas, like look at those teams. Vegas, at the end of the game, okay, you're getting shit pumped a little bit or you're losing a game. They're going out there and they're in every scrum, and it's their big boys. It's their best players. They're involved in everything. These Leafs guys, I mean, again, yeah, tonight you found the way to come back, but a lot of times you see it and it's like, all right, next one. We'll get to the next game.
Can I just piggyback off that a little bit and take it in a slightly different direction?
Yeah.
I absolutely love Max Domi, and especially the way he's been playing now. Absolutely love him. And he has proven over the last 5 games or so, like he had a really rough start to the season. Over the past, 5 to 10 games, he's proven how important he is to this lineup when he's on. He has proven he has been that depth 3C that we've been looking for maybe the past 10 fucking years. Saying that, you cannot take yourself out of the lineup for 10 fucking minutes. You proved how important you are. You cannot fucking do that.
We're having a good night tonight too.
He was flying. He was buzzing. He got Lots going in the first period.
Yeah.
Lots had his best period of the season in the first period, and it was all on Domi's shoulders. Domi got him the puck in dangerous spot time after time after time, and he looked engaged. You can't fucking do that. You've shown us how important you are, and it sucks because I'm talking about a third line center now, and I'm not talking about the $11 million boys right now. But when you're proving to us, you're showing us how vital you are to this lineups and how important you are to this team's success. You can't be doing dumb shit like that. You got to take a fucking chill pill. You took yourself out for literally an entire period. You can't fucking do that.
Yeah, I agree. I'm on the same page there. Obviously, you can't like foreshadow that it's going to last the entire period at that point, I guess. But you're right. The conversation with that is correct. Like, also, someone like that, Max knows that that's a situation you can't just drop the gloves.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you've been in the league long enough. You need that guy engaging in it. Otherwise, you can't just drop. Like, especially when you start by going and jumping on the guy right away. Like the ref's going to be looking for it. He's going to be ready to go and throw you anything extra at that point. And he's going to drop the gloves. He's trying to grab the guy. He's going to get the extra misconduct at that point. Yeah, and he was important to this team. As you said, he got the third line going. He looked really good there. He's been really good lately. That's just one of those ones where he's got to have a bit better awareness. But
yeah, it's just like, I love the fight you have. I love it. And he tried to drag the guy into the box with him because he knew he took the first penalty. But just the guys will kill that one for you.
Yeah.
It's the dumb ones like Nick fucking Robertson took that they don't kill for you.
Yeah. Yeah. The stick in the feet there.
Yeah. Oh. Where's Pontus, man? Get Pontus on that goddamn line.
Pontus, he's eating popcorn in the press box. Another super chat here, a big one as well. Dan Freeman. Billy, I told you there would be egg laying. This is a weak egg laying. He said lay egging.
Okay.
Next game is a beatdown in LA. Points, we need to stay on top. These guys kill themselves. We needed this game to offset going into LA. Okay, sure. I appreciate the super chat here again. I don't have too much to say to this one other than, Vic, you know exactly what happens on Saturday against LA, right? Especially after this.
Yeah, the Leafs pump them.
Like, roll in there, 6-1. See you later.
Make Darcy Kemper their bitch.
Yeah,
and get the fuck.
Like, that's just what the Leafs do. It's the most predictable shit ever. Maxentius Decimus, can I pay Vic to get an all caps hashtag vibes? I'm gonna say probably not, given that Vic is next to in another room sleeping people. I'm also have sleeping roommates. So, that's the most you're going to get out of us. I want to know your thoughts on this one here. So Sangnam with the super chat. We knew the goaltending would fall off a bit. We knew the scoring would improve as the season went on. What we didn't predict is the team D worsening. So a couple things. First of all, let's start with the goaltending would fall off a bit. You are Mr. Joseph Woll. We established that going into Nashville. It became a big story while we were there. You and all the boys were all fired up about Joseph Woll's the guy. It's been a rough stretch here, basically, since returning from Four Nations, pretty much, whether it was Woll or Stolarz. It's not like they've been, the consistent guys that they were for the first 55 games of the year before coming back from that break.
This is scary because this is finally pressure situation hockey.
Yeah.
This is, do you want the job or do you want to back up? I believe Berube actually said, I want one guy. I don't want to rotate. I want one guy. So he says that, and then both guys go into a fucking tailspin. That's terrifying. Someone just grab it. Someone grab it. Again, I will say Hutsy agreed with me. I think our goalie guy.
Yeah.
He thinks Woll has the higher upside, but I mean, who has the higher floor at this point is what we're going for.
That's what I'm wondering. Like, I would agree with that. I think Woll's got the higher upside. Who has, like, the
better
higher,
B game, right?
Yeah. The better B game is a easier way to put it. I was doing mental gymnastics trying to figure out how I was going to say that one. Who's got the better B game? I feel like maybe Stolarz.
I think so too. When Woll's bad, he's bad.
And this was a kind of an example of it here tonight. Like he had some moments, even on ones that didn't end up being goals, that were like, what the fuck was going on there? I mean, even like that Wenberg goal that scored. Benoit goes over to the wall, tries to make the play, tries to keep it in the zone. I mean, first of all, fucking Lawton, Robertson, and Domi were all caught down low. But anyways, the puck ends up getting rung around the boards. Benoit goes to make the play. It jumps over his stick and on its way out of the zone. And it's a 2-on-1 the other way. OEL plays that thing perfectly. Like, that's the best that you can do. You kind of narrow things down. You take away the pass. You leave Woll the shooter. And that puck goes through him, Vic. That's not a goal that goes in on Joseph Woll.
And then he was like checking his blocker.
Yeah. Like, there's a hole in the fucking blocker, dude.
Yeah.
Like, you can just let it in through.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I think just by default, like just how big he is and positionally sound, even if Stoley's having a bad game, he just takes up more space. So I think his B game is just automatically better just by how sheer size, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I want to see some A games here, guys. Show us some fucking A games.
Do you have concern going into a playoff series then if there is a rotation? Because the one thing that makes me feel uncomfortable is the Boston situation again when they went into that series against Florida 2 years ago, I guess it would be at this point, where, they go into that series and it's the first round. They've gone all season rotating their guys, and, you were not really relying on one over the other. You could go back and forth. It's very similar to what you've got here right now. And then it's like the same conversation as what you have when you have quarterbacks and the goaltenders. If you've got two of them, do you really even have one? Well, now you're going through your own mental gymnastics if you're the coaching staff and having to balance their emotions and keep them mentally in check. Like, I would prefer one of these guys steps up and takes it because, you might have to go through both at some point to go on a long run to win a Stanley Cup. I would prefer going in knowing one of the guys is the one.
Yeah, and then to add to that, all the media, all the questions, all the extra shit in the locker room. Well, who's starting today? Who's starting today? Who's starting today? Oh, I'm going to vote on this little poll here that you just put up. I'm in the minority.
There's not many votes yet, so we'll see how this one goes.
I think it's going to go the way it's going right now. especially after a game like tonight.
Yeah.
Recency bias will probably creep in here a little bit, but
Yeah.
I'm thinking long term as well. I want Wall is locked in for 3 more seasons after this one.
Yeah.
He's at a respectable cap hit. Stoley's got the 1 year left, but I want Wall to be the guy. I just want him. But again, he's
supposed to be the future.
Yeah,
right?
he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But I mean, he can't stay healthy, and now he can't consistently play well. Like last year, he had a chance to take it from Samsonov, and he couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Like bad.
Lots of super chats here from Dan Freeman. He's firing away in the chat right now. So let's go through some of these here. Still about 300 people watching right now. Keep pumping those likes up. Let's get to the 100 here. We did the first smelling salts. We got to the 50. We got to get to the next 100. We'll do that. Dan Freeman, my dudes, you are saying to do that to the only guys left. These are the guys we're going into the playoffs with. This should be set by now. Dan, I think we both agree on that one. Dan also says, cornrows, sushi eating Willie riding the TTC is the Willie we need. Coming from Saskatchewan, motherfuckers. Dan is firing away on the super chats right now.
Another one.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, Willie just has swagger, the confidence. He's got it all. It seems like this. He's honestly built perfectly for this market. You know, and I think Vic and I have kind of touched on that. But do you guys like, this is another one, do you guys like my 50 for the kids or this other more smaller denominations, me, Ferda? Dan is buzzing right now. You don't have to do this.
Dan, I want what you're on right now. Maybe it's just fatigue. I don't know if you're on the East Coast, West Coast. I don't know where you are, but
give me some of
give me some of what you're
on. Here's another one.
Dan again?
No, not this one's not Dan.
Oh, okay.
Dan did send another one, which we'll get to, but this one's not. This one's not Dan. This one is KPG. So let's do the super chat.
Boy.
KPG says, KPG also DM'd me on Twitter today and said, "Hey Zack," and I replied and said, "Hey KPG." And then he never responded. I was like, okay.
I met him the one time. That sounds right up KPG's alley. Sounds like something he would do.
I'm with Mexican friends, and this was the first hockey game they ever saw. They all ended up cheering for San Jose near the end of the game.
Oh, we have a Mexican on our team, KPG.
Imagine
our first line center is Mexican. You couldn't tell them that?
Imagine showing them hockey for the first time. Yeah. You're like, yeah, this is the game I love. This is the sport I love watching. And they're like, oh, like, what's your favorite team? You're like, oh, this team here, like in the blue, you know, the captain, he's from his family's from Mexico. And like, this is like my team. Like, you guys could cheer for them. And they're like, you know what? Actually, I'd prefer to cheer for the little white boys because they're more exciting.
They look like they're having more fun. They look faster. We'll cheer for the better team. How about that?
Oh God. Another super chat. This one is from Dan. We've got a couple here from Dan.
Shocker.
Dan says, I'm taking bets. I'll give 2-1. LA doesn't lose at home. Producer Vic ups a 50. Philly ups a 50 too.
All right. You know what? I'll do it for sick kids.
I'll do it for sick kids as well.
$50
so you're saying
on the game?
We're both saying Leafs win. Okay, so if LA wins, Vic and I will both donate $50 to sick kids. Okay, perfect. If not, Dan, you will. I mean, honestly, you don't even have to.
He already has. You don't have to do anything.
You've done enough.
You just do whatever you're doing now.
Maxentius Decimus here with another super chat. These are the games that make me sad for round 1. Let's just get a temperature check on this on Vic. Like, I don't think it's like losing. Yeah, I don't think it's like losing to San Jose is what does it for me. But it's watching the same type of play over the last month And it's the same type of play that's happened this last month is the same type of play we've seen for 8 years leading into this. That's what makes me sad for round 1. It's not losing to San Jose. I don't really give a fuck if you lose to San Jose. The other teams in the league are going to lose to other crappy teams as well. It happens. It's 82-game schedule. It's the way they played that has now been copied from the last 8 years and the last month of hockey. That's what makes me sad.
Yeah, and again, they'll get in and game 1, they'll absolutely destroy whoever they play, or they'll shit their pants. Yeah. And then game 2 will be the opposite of game 1. And it doesn't matter who they play or what happens. This is this team. They're inconsistent. And I learned nothing today. Like our boy CEO Sang said, like 5 minutes into the show. Yeah. We learned absolutely nothing about this team. We learned that they didn't learn. Yeah, we still don't know what team shows up on Saturday. You and I think it's the opposite of this team, where other people think they'll be blown out of the building. Like, I have no idea still, and here we are. So this doesn't do anything for me for round 1, because I already know it's going 7 games.
Yeah, dude, no matter who you play.
It doesn't matter if it's Ottawa. It doesn't matter if it's Montreal. It doesn't matter if it's the Isles. It's going 7.
Okay, let's wrap up with a couple of these. We'll do rapid fire Vic, and then we'll end the show and get out of here. We'll have a couple more things to do quickly. But so saying them, the one hope I have is when we saw earlier in the season when Tampa Bay tried to bully the Leafs and piss them off, the team got nasty back and were dominant. I'll just say, you can say if you feel any different. I agree. That's nice to see and nice to know that they have. The thing is just, do they do it every night? That's really my question.
How long ago was that?
That would have
to go back to a game against Tampa Bay in God knows
October, November.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. I need to see it now. We have 10 games left.
Yeah. Dan Freeman, Buko Cashbro -KPG. I don't know. Thank you. Michael, for some reason, 19 in the lineup. They lost 90%.
Is that Callie? He's taking shots at my boy Callie?
Yeah, it was Callie. Yarncroke didn't even play. Or
Callie played today.
Yeah.
I mean, barely. I didn't notice him, but he was there.
Let me look at his minutes tonight, actually. Let's do that quickly.
Yeah, Pontus over Callie right now. For sure.
He played 9 minutes and 38 seconds. Steven Lorentz, 9:33. Ooh, those guys did not play very much.
They had you know what? They set up the Lawton goal with a great shift. Camp, Lorentz.
Yeah, they did.
Cycle, and then Lawton was the benefactor of all that.
The fact that I didn't even think Yarncroke played is certainly something. Yeah. Holy fuck. Okay, let's get ourselves wrapped up through our last couple of things here. Let's start with this one. Let's go to our play of the game. Okay, do you have a play of the game?
Scott Lawton. Has to be. 100%. Willie obviously tied the game late. Tavares, great tip. Doesn't matter. Lawton getting that fucking monkey off his back is absolutely crucial for the success of this team going forward.
Yeah.
Attaboy, good on him. The boys were buzzing. They were super happy for him. I feel for him. We were all over him. Good on him. That's my play of the game. I don't think anything comes close.
I would agree with you, but for the sake of just throwing something else out there for people to chew on, I would say the Nylander tying goal. There's a couple things. You brought intensity in the last 3 minutes, and they were pushing, and you scored 2 in the final minute of the game to tie it. But it's good puck movement in the offensive zone. You end up getting the puck across to Matthews there for the one-timer. He rips that thing off. It gets saved by Georgiev, and Matthews follows up his own shot. A lot of times in the past, we probably would have watched these guys rip that thing and then just stare at it, and then that's it. But he follows it up. He gets the rebound, passes it out to Mitch. Mitch, who I was about to flying ninja kick my TV and say shoot the fucking puck, ends up passing it across to Willie with a beautiful pass, and Willie goes short side high for his 42nd of the season. So And I'll throw that one out there. You score 12 seconds left. You get the extra point. I'll throw that as an honorable mention, but I'm with Vic on this one. It's Lawton.
It has to be Lawton.
There's no other way about it. I don't think.
Yeah, like he needed that so fucking bad. Like,
yeah, you could tell it was bothering him.
It's like if you or I were on that third line for the Leafs and you started the way he started. Like, I just feel for him. Like, put myself in his position. I don't know. What a beauty. Good for him.
Yeah. Let's get to our best bets and recap this here quickly. Our breaking news coming in from Bet365. It has been an unbelievable season for us here so far over on Bet365, where every nail-biting overtime win is a barn burner. Every face-off, hat trick, power play, shot on goal, penalty shot, and every suspenseful minute in between is amazing. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365, an official partner of the NHL. Download the Bet365 app and use the code NATION to get in on the game. Must be 19 or older. Please play responsibly. Vic, did you have any bets tonight yourself?
I did not. Again, had no idea what I was going to bet. If I did have a bet, I was going to put some money on Lil Jigrin to get a goal, but luckily I held off. And I usually bet Toffoli when the Leafs play, and I just completely slipped my mind that he's still there, so didn't do it. Because Scarborough boy like me.
Like me. You guys are one and the same.
Yeah. You went to school like right down the street from where I live, so.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough. I had two here tonight, two best bets. This is why you got to tune into the pregame show. This season, we are now up $661 profit. If you've been following along with bankroll management, the unit sizing, all that kind of stuff, $661. That would be 6.61 units. We won 2 tonight. John Tavares, anytime goal, plus 200. That one was $50 a half unit to profit 100, and then we won Scott Lawton anytime goal plus 700. That one was $10, which I'm pissed off because I was gonna do $20, and then I was like, I'll just give it out for 10, and then he ends up scoring. So that one profits 70. So it's $170 profit on the night for us here for our best bets. I mean, I'll take it. My record is awful, by the way, Vic. That's the one thing I just don't talk about.
That's okay. You always hit the plus money. It's not like you're hitting minus 150s.
Yeah, so we're just
pulling those out there.
Give us the plus money. Whatever. Give us the plus money. Let's now get to our final segment of the show here tonight. Let's get to the grade of the game, and the grade of the game is presented by Greta Bar YYZ. Great spot before, during, and after the game. Check out the great street food menu. And games in the arcade. The food there is awesome. I've had it whether it was during games, if I'm going there for dinner, if I'm going there and hanging out and drinking and I just want a snack. The food is great. The games are awesome. There's plenty of options. 2 floors here in Toronto as well. Weekly drink specials. Greta Bar is the place to be. 590 King Street West. Greta Bar, let the games begin. Vic, I mean, I don't really care who starts on this one. You got a grade of the game tonight?
It's an F. It's got to be an F. It's an F for me. You got to win that game. You got to get 2 points.
I'm not quite at the F. I do completely understand where you're at, and I'm gonna assume a lot of people in the chat are probably gonna throw Fs out there as well, and I don't blame anybody. I'm gonna go with a D. I was thinking about plus, but I think the fact that I was almost at an F brings it down, so I'll go with the D. You fought back. You got a point. The points do matter. Goaltending was awful. There's a negative. First line was awful. There's a negative. Morgan Rielly was not very good again here tonight. That's a negative. Carlo, Tanev, McCabe, I thought were good. Balances some things out. OEL gets his 500th career point. That's a positive in my books.
Who keeps that puck? Lawton's first goal or Ekman Larsson's 500th point? Who keeps that puck?
That's a good question. Let me see if I can get that answer for us tomorrow.
Okay. I'm actually curious. It was just something I was thinking about right when it went in. I was like,
Yeah, that's a good question.
Do they cut that? Do they cut that in half or something?
That would be pretty sick if they did. It's like Lawton has taped on it. It says half. It says first goal. And OEL says 500th point.
Okay. Now, if you're Lawton, would you give that to him, or would you want that? Because as a Leaf fan, you've been a Leaf fan your whole life.
You're
It's your
from
first goal
Toronto.
puck.
See,
Yeah,
if
your
Lawton
first
got
goal
traded
puck.
to like Winnipeg, he probably gives that puck
Yeah,
up.
gives that puck up. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's different because it's that goal.
Maybe different.
I don't know. Find out who got that somehow.
Okay,
I don't know how you would, but find out.
Yeah. So the other part of the reasons why I go a little bit higher than you, power play looks good. Penalty kill I thought was actually pretty good tonight as well. Just kind of process going into it. Power play, the only thing was, I mean, it's late in the game. You need a goal, and when do they decide to fuck off? Like,
yeah.
Fuck, come on. It's like the one time you got to be able to like get into the zone and possess the puck, and they can't do any of that. But yeah, I'll go with the D. I mean, I can't go much higher than that, but that's it.
I'm still shocked no one scored in that overtime. Like, they made us actually see a shootout after that crazy
overtime. Sick overtime. I know. That was frustrating. I wanted Willie to score that one where he went coast to coast so bad.
So bad. And then Mitch at the end with the dangles too.
Yeah. That play, by the way, or that shootout goal by Willie was nasty.
And then Will Smith did a pretty similar. Disgusting. And then Austin hit the post too in OT. Like, fuck.
I know. And they fucking thought it was a goal.
Yeah. I did too, and Rishan, I think it's because the bottle popped. That's how hard he hit the post.
Yeah, the whole net rocked for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Vic, that'll do it for the show here tonight. I'll wrap this thing up. I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Vic, thank you for staying up. It's now 2:30 a.m. Eastern time. Thanks to everybody in the chat. For some reason, every time we do these like late game shows, it's like some of the higher viewership we have all season. Like I don't know if everybody's on Central Time and West Coast time or overseas, or if you guys are all just sicko Leafs fans in the East Coast here as well. But whatever the reason, you guys stay here till the end of the show. So I appreciate that. Thank you guys for tuning in here tonight. This has been game number 72, the Toronto Maple Leafs regular season, dropping this one 6-5 to the San Jose Sharks. That said, they do end up grabbing a point, and now you get yourself 1 point. One singular point, Vic, ahead of the Florida Panthers. You currently sit in first in the Atlantic, and that would mean you face the Ottawa Senators in round 1. That's all for the show here tonight. Thanks to everyone who tuned in. Appreciate it as always. I'll be back Saturday night. I'll be back Saturday for a pregame, and I'll be back Sunday afternoon for a pregame and Sunday night for another Leafs game. So busy one here. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Vic. Appreciate it. We'll see you guys on Saturday. Until then, keep believing. For more content just like this, including game previews, post-game live shows, Leafs Morning Take, Monday through Friday with Nick Alberga and Jay Rosehill with special guests, as well as instant reaction videos. Make sure to be subscribed here to the Leafs Nation YouTube channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. And